Fellow South Africans, the banks, they don't give a shit about you. And the ANC still wants to steal your stuff. And welcome back to Morning Shots. Hello, Ramon. How are you?
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry about that. Byron had an aneurysm or some sort, or maybe he had a bra last night that changed the way he spoke. But yes, we are back. And the most important thing you need to know today is that the banks don't care at all that EWC is with us, expropriation without compensation. So, Byron, what are the facts of this?
So this is an article coming from the Daily Friend. You keep trying to steal our audience. Bloody agents. They came through and wrote an article about how they've written through to the banks to ask them, what are you going to do about expropriation without compensation? And would you know it? The banks said nix. They said nothing. They said nada. They didn't even respond. You know why? Because the banks don't have a fucking clue what's going on, mate. They're just like, the ANC wouldn't steal our shit, would they? It's much easier to kind of bury your head in the sand. So this is basically an article where the IRR go off again, talking about the Expropriation Bill. For those of you who remember, Section 13 amendment last year on the Constitution, that didn't pass because the EFF said it wasn't radical enough. We should have stolen all land, not just some of it. And obviously the ANC is like, we're still going to continue with this outside of the usual whatever bullshit that they come out with. And the way that they're going to do this now is they have a brand new expropriation bill. And this expropriation bill basically means that where you lose control of your property, the government gets to expropriate it. And you have to kind of view it in light with the Trespass Act and all the other bullshit the ANC is getting on with. And obviously it just shows that expropriation without compensation is still very much on the cards. And Ramon, you'll remember we did an interview with Gabriel Kraus of the IRR, who depressed the living daylights out of us by telling us just how little hope there was in all this.
That's true.
And basically, as a result of that, they wrote to all the banks and said, what are you guys going to do? Because you've probably got bonds on these properties. You probably owe some money. And when all this happens, are you okay with all of it? Like, what's your views on this? And the banks ignored it and said nada. What do you think, Ramon?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important to understand that the ANC is still dead keen on expropriation without compensation, and they will do so through the Expropriation Bill, which allows for expropriating of land if it's, there for speculative reasons or if it's, not lived on. They've got a few categories which aren't closed, by the way, so they can create new categories if they choose to do so. And of course, they can give you no compensation when they do take it away from you. And of course, banks own a lot of land through securities or through mortgages and bonds and things like that. And therefore, one would think that if expropriation or compensation through the expropriation bill does happen, banks would have a vested interest to make sure that it doesn't actually happen because their whole business model is screwed, right? They will default on everything. So the IR has taken it upon itself to call the banks up and write letters to them and say, are you fine with this expropriation bill? Don't you think you need to fight a bit harder? And the banks have just said, well, as you said, nothing really. So the Banking Association of South Africa came out sometime last year where they said, no, we disagree with this, we disagree with that, etc., etc., etc. But fundamentally, the banks have been very silent on a real and imminent threat to their business model, which makes me wonder, are they A, completely dumb, B, in cahoots, or C, a combination of both?
I don't think they're in cahoots. I think that they just think if they remain quiet, it's a bit like Discovery, isn't it? It's like the medical health industry. It's like if we keep quiet, the government will spare us. Like, you're dealing with communists, mate. They don't spare you for fuck all. So you can sit there all you want and be like, if we play the good guy, they'll leave us alone. Like, you're playing with fire because these guys don't view you in the way that you view them. They view you as you have shit we want. We are taking that shit whether you want it or not. And you're like, well, if I share my toys, maybe they'll allow me to keep them. Are you stupid? You must be stupid. So I don't think they're in cahoots.
So, I mean, imagine, if you will, like the analogy is that there's someone at your front gate climbing over who says, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. You can either take the principled stance, which is to drive them off, or the bank stance, which is to run inside your house, cover your ears, close your eyes, and sing la 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 to yourself, hopefully, because that person will just materially disappear from your vicinity. We know that the latter is something that doesn't work whatsoever. As we said on this channel, mindset, defense, everything works extremely well and much better because it gives you equal footing. So for the banks to be extremely silent on the expropriation bill and its effects on their own businesses is just shocking to me. It really is. It's unbecoming of corporations who make a hell of a lot of money in this country to remain quiet about this very pertinent policy that's going to destroy them. I mean, it's like having cancer and then just accepting it and just carrying on with life or going to sleep. No, like you take radiation, you take action of some sorts. But the banks, no, they don't want to do it.
So it reminds me of in Western Europe, there was an advert that went around for an insurance company a few years ago, and it's basically a wife keeps moaning at her husband. So this husband buys himself these headsets, and the two headsets have fingers in the ears, and all they do is they play a song that goes la 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 la, and the wife goes there every day and moans at him and moans at him and moans at him, and eventually she leaves him. And it's like, and he sits there at an interview afterwards, and they say to him, "How did you not know?" And he says, "Oh, I never saw the signs coming." And it's like, it's an advert for an insurance company. And it seems a little bit like that here. It's kind of like when all the shit gets stolen, the land gets expropriated, and the banks are sat there holding bonds that are worthless, and their collateral is land that they don't even own anymore. They're all going to go, "I never saw the signs coming. I don't know where this all came from." So, as the IR suggests, if you haven't already, write to your bank and say, "Oi, puss, what are you doing? Because I don't really fancy my shit getting stolen." And just leave it at that.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old adage where evil happens when good people do nothing. I'm not saying the banks are good, but they're certainly doing nothing.
Don't know what else to say, mate. Banks are freaking useless. I mean, we've covered it before. Nedbank's far more interested in writing articles about how their all-white board should be an all-black board, even though their board remains all white. And, they're far more interested in caving to the religion of progressivism than actually looking at proper things like, I don't know, property rights.
Yeah, well, for their clients, the ones that fund them in the first place. But oh well,
Yeah,
if they don't want to do it, maybe we can create alternatives to them as well. And with that,
we'd love to.
nothing more to add on this side.
Nothing more from me.
Have a
Take
good
it
one,
easy,
everyone.
everyone.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers. Bye.